Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world. This is Howie, and I'm here to help you win with money. Today is June 5th, 2021. That means we are at the end of the week number 22. So this is the end of trading week number 22. So in this episode, we're going to go through the transaction history of all the trades that we did, and then we're going to summarize the week, and we'll normally talk about the P&L for the week, and we'll also talk about some of the trades in detail. So before we go on, let's look at the markets. If you are on Facebook, join Investing 102. This is a Facebook group where you can level up your investing. I talk about strategies of what I'm doing in options trading. I talk about crypto. I talk about anything investment related. Here goes some charting stuff. So there's a lot of stuff. We cover almost anything that's investing related. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go scroll down. I'm going to copy everything from June 1st. And don't forget, Monday was a trading holiday, and that was the previous month. We're going to paste in here. Copy. Paste in here. Copy. June 3rd. Paste. Copy. Paste. Copy. And paste over here. Okay, I think I'm done populating everything. Remember, I got to populate the methods and the type of month and the option type. And I now do this. I populate the notes. I trade the trade number. And I now also do, when I'm rolling, I'm keeping track of how many days are left so I can see what's going on. Let me hit the save button. Let's go to the top. We're going to pivot now. And normally I don't find any errors unless I pivot. So it was a new month, so we got to add in a new month. And you'll see this right here. You got to add it right here. Select the new month. And there you go. The pivot just happened. So you'll see the numbers get updated. And because of this, you'll see the numbers. I want to double check, make sure nothing is broken. I think there is something wrong with my headings. So the pivot's not working. So let me fix that. Okay. Now if I just hit refresh, you see it. I think I fixed the column. Everything looks good. Now I'm going to go to the option by month. Don't forget it's a new month, so I got to add that new month in here also. And let's see if that is. And here you go, just to double check. Hit the refresh. So that's what it looks like right now. My first week of June. Small week. It's $500, but it's better than losing money. I just updated the numbers. So I took the number from the monthly, which is from this tab, and I just copied it here. I do the number of trades. I know how many. So I did 13 trades this week on week number 22. I did make a $500 profit. Here's my average profit per trade for the whole year. This is my forecast. If I continue at this pace up until week number 22, I'm going to fall 9 trades short of my 1500. So this is how I can project my trade count. And you can see if I didn't do any trades for the next 3-4 weeks, my projection for the year is going to keep on dropping. So that's what this is for. Next, let's just examine a couple trades. So let's talk about RIOT blockchain. These are cash secure puts, as you can see. Remember, different colors, different weeks. So there was I rolled it out from week 19, week 20, and then you notice I skipped 1 week because I pushed it so far up into the future that it doesn't make sense for me to keep on pushing it out. I only did it this week for one reason. RIOT blockchain was actually moving up. And in order to reduce the risk, you see what I'm doing is I'm rolling my strike price down on my cash secure put, $1 and $1. I count that as a single trade, even though it's two different contracts on two different strike price. But I released 200 out of the buying power. And if you just look at this real quick, I netted another $50 back into my account while I'm releasing $200 of buying power. So that's $250 that I can use in my account for trading purposes. Is this a win? Really not a win. These can still get early assignment, which means I will be overpaying for RIOT blockchain. It is still trading at like $26 or $28 per share. and you can see my strike price is in the 41 here and 38 here. So the goal is to reduce some risk by pushing it out further. So let's now explain the trade that I've been posting on Facebook. I've been tracking this trade with the 11 SPY. So let me show you why I filter everything on the spreadsheet. I can also update how I pivot the data and how I display it. So let me show you what I do. If you see what happened here is I just put in a filter. The only thing I care about is the June 25th. And if I did this right, you will see the filter only calls out the trade that I care about. So I can follow the life cycle of this trade. On my video this week, I showed you how I closed this trade for $950. And I said, how did I make money on this trade? And I'll show you. I opened this trade over here on May 10. May 10. You see this? This is the original trade, trade number 536. And if you do this real quick, you'll see that it costs, I collected $1,088. And real quickly, I just updated this. So on this day when I created it, it was a 46-day to expiration. And how did I make money? And if you look only at here, when I closed it at 22 days left, it just looked like I lost or made very little. But what you don't see is, it's hard to follow as I'm doing the trades weekly. But if you look at the next week, I did this move, so which means I collected $241. And there was 35 days left in the trade. I rode the untested side of the call. And actually, it was the tested side, most likely, but it was far enough away. Then the next week, I did the same thing again. And you see here, I collected another 208. Then I did it again on the untested side here, and I collected another 273. And then when I finally closed it, and if you do the net of this trade, I'm going to show you the math, $853 on this single iron condor, which I didn't change the expiration. What I did was I moved the untested side closer to the market price, and I did it multiple times. And even with commission factored in, because remember, this is the number I get from my broker after commission, it's still $853. So here's the math. Okay guys, now here's the part that you should pay attention to. What is the max profit of the original trade? Trade number 536. If you scroll back up, 536 is here. This is the max. It is a defined risk options trade. If the option expires worthless, I will keep all the premiums. I collected $1,088 up front. What did I close it at? If you look at this trade, I closed it at minus $957, which is trade number 623. So if you look at the stupid math, most people will just look at this number and say, well, you only made $131. And in fact, I even made a slide on it showing my original trade here. And you see how I collected the $100 premium per contract. And then here I closed it and I collected I paid the 85 each, which is the 957. So how did I make money? So that's what I'm going to walk you through this trade now. As you now know, I did multiple rows of both the call side and the put side on this contract in different weeks, and I collected the premiums. Because we tracked everything, we can actually see what the true profit is. When you add them all up, you'll see that the true profit is $853. If you plug that over here, $853 is the profit. You divide that by how many weeks that I had this for. So this is divided by how much capital I put up. 11 contracts, they're 10 wide, so that's $11,000. So that's here's your ROI. What that means is this ROI is also divided by 4. If you look at the calendar, here's the first week, right, ending, let's just use Saturday to make it easy. If I open it here, 1 week, 2, 3, 4 weeks in this trade, so I made 1.94 ROI per week using this number. If you analyze that, it's a real simple math. You just divide the weekly number times it by 52. if I can duplicate this trade, I will be making 100%, $11,000 profit just on these 11 contracts if I can repeat this over and over and over and over. The other thing that you should look at is what's my max profit? If you take a look at this number divided by this number, right? Because if I let this expire, I would have only made this. But I still have 22 days left on this, and I made 78% of my max. What that means is I still gave myself flexibility where I can move or exit out or close my position or manage it. Because S&P was pretty much range bound, and actually it did go up, but it was range bound for the most part within the last 4 weeks, I was able to make way more than just playing it the normal way. I would have probably only made 42% of my max. I would have made maybe $400, maybe $550 if it was, again, I don't know what the numbers would have been like because I didn't play it that way. I ended up doing something different by adjusting my contract and then collected more premium because I sort of predicted that it was going to stay in the range. So what I ended up doing was I definitely boosted my return by doing something like this. Now, some people say, well, is that a dumb trade? Well, if you leave $11,000 in your bank, and I'm going to be super generous here, I'm going to assume your bank is going to pay you 2%, no risk. How much will you make? Well, I did the math for you. Let's just use 2%. I'm going to be generous here. There you go. At 2%, you made a whopping $16 in interest. Okay? Because you take the 2% divided by the weeks times the 4 weeks using the +1, so it adds back the principal. So that's what it's doing. So this math will say I made $16 in 4 weeks leaving my money at the bank. Well, that sounds good for zero risk. But I made $800 on the same time, same amount, same capital. So you can see the difference between a 2% rate of return and what I just got. I made a 7% rate of return in the 4 weeks. Again, my rate of return is probably closer to 100%. So with that being said, there's a lot of different trading rules out there. People use different methods and strategies. I'm not here to say which one is good or bad. Really, as a trader, you have to be smart enough to say, do what works for you. And what may work for you may not work for another trader. And I think this is where you have to be cautious not to badmouth other people's strategies or say, well, that's a dumb way to use your money. That's a poor use of investment cash because you're only making X% where you can make Y. And in the same way, people say the same thing about using this type of strategy where I'm using time decay to make money. And I'm not even collecting 33% of the WIP, which is normally $300 per contract. Most of the time, I'm collecting 9% to about 11% of the WIP. What that means is my odds of winning are much higher, and then people tell you, well, it just means that when you get crushed, you're going to lose a lot of money. Really, the thinking is if you know how to manage your portfolio, I can still boost the percentages because you see that I'm boosting it. And because I still have a lot of time on my contract, if the markets moved up 2 or 3% a day or drop 2 or 3% a day, I can still exit out of my position. And yes, you will take a small loss, but I can reposition it and open a new iron condor based on whatever the new market price is for S&P 500. And that's a little bit complex. Again, as a financial coach and as an options trader, I'm not here to argue over what's good or bad. What I'm here to do is to help you make money. And there are many ways to do it. If you want to bet $5 and play AMC, and if you're right, sure, you could have made 2,000% return. There's nothing wrong with that. The key is you got to be just right enough times to pay for other times where you're not right. And again, this is where math comes in. This is where your trading ability comes in. If you like charts, you use whatever advantage you need to. And this is why, as a trader, we have to learn not to put other people's method down as long as they can explain how they make money, how they manage it, what are the conditions where they can lose money, is it worth it. I compare it to a bank account. This is great enough for me. I'm not even shooting for 100% return. I tell people if I make $5 a trade, $10 a trade, 20 bucks a trade, I'm fine. And in this case, you see, I supersede that and I made $800 on this particular trade. Then what did I do? I opened a new trade. So I hope you enjoyed that. So here's one where I'm still playing it out. And again, I can't punch up the final numbers yet because we're still playing it out. We still have 28 days to go. So I'll show you how I started it. I started it 2 weeks ago and I collected 743 bucks on this one. This is a 6 contract. And then you see I did the same thing. I rolled up here, collected $47 with 35 days to go. And then this week, you see what I did? I did the same thing. I rolled up the put side to a free 93 short put, and I collected another $41. Now the go is, we'll see where S&P settles. If I feel like it's not going to touch the call side, I'll roll down the call side by another $3 or $4. The put side will leave there because I always want to account for sort of the black swan events or days where the markets can drop, let's say 5% a day. So you want to always account for the unlikely occurrence of something bad happening, because that's part of trading. You want to always account for these anomalies or outliers or the days when the market will go totally against you, that it's that 1% or 2% chance of happening. That can make you lose money. So I want to always account for those things. And then that's the reason why you manage your account and you close them early. So on this one, it's too early to tell you what my profit margin is, but I'm happy if I get anywhere near, let's say, right, the 50% mark will put you anywhere near $400 profit. I will be happy. I haven't looked at the cost of this one yet, but you can see I still have some time left. So what I may do this week is we'll tighten it up. We'll make the iron condor a little bit more narrow, and then we'll let some time pass because that's how I'm making money. And then I'll end the position, and I'll do another video showing you how this can be duplicatable. It's not a random luck or chance that I'm playing it this way. I can duplicate it, and this one I started with 42 days, and you can see it. Now I'm showing you what days I'm doing it and stuff like that. But I'm just playing the math. That's all I'm doing. So come along, hit the bell, subscribe, like, share it with your friends. Let people know that I make these type of videos. Let's help your friends make $1 a day. I always say, let's do this together. I'm going to teach you how to make an extra $1. You do it well enough or often enough, you're going to make enough to have millions. Hey, thanks again. And as always, let's do this together. Let's do this $1 at a time. Have a profitable day. Bye-bye.